Welcome. Hello. How's everybody doing? It has been forever and a day. Actually, it hasn't been that long, right? I feel like it would count to be that long if it was like over a year ago, but I swear to God, the last time I did something like this was back in April. So you know what? Hey, it's not. Why did I say it like that? Anyways, welcome guys. It is me, your friendly neighborhood Steven Diego, back at it again with I don't want to say new, all right? I don't want to say improved either, but I decided I needed some sort of like a rebrand or it's kind of the same thing, right? But I realized that like I was gone for quite a few months, and in these times I have grown a lot. I've learned a lot. Funny enough. Also, for those of you who are watching the video companion of this, I would like to apologize for this stash that I have going on. I currently have COVID. And I was like, wow, I don't need to leave my house. I'm not going to shave. Bad idea, because I didn't realize that I was actually going to record a podcast today. And I should have known. Because I always do these things at the randomest times. But anyways, without further ado, welcome. Welcome in, listeners, viewers, haters, lovers. Don't matter who you are. You're welcome here. This is called After the Breakdown. Now, for a lot of people asking, what is the difference between breaking down the breakdown and after the breakdown? Well, we broke down our breakdowns before, but now we got to talk about what's after that. And what's after that is a lot of reflecting. Isn't that the same thing as breaking down? You know, shut the fuck up. Nobody fucking asks you. I'm kidding. We love you. Whoever you are wondering that. I'm talking about myself. The reason why I decided to rebrand and rename this is because I realized that even with my guests in the past, I was so focused, and I will still focus on what happened, what caused the breakdown. But the resolve of that, it was literally a 5-minute segment. It was, oh my God, wow, that was a lot. Anyways, thank you. What's next for you? Oh yeah, this is what's happening. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Please follow them on this. And, it was a nice send-off. But I realized I wasn't really focusing on what I wanted to focus on, which is to really showcase what can happen in a positive way after an episode, after someone's had a breakdown, after they've gone through something so traumatic. I never really focused on it. So you know what? That's kind of what I wanted to talk about here. Is, I feel like I'm just going to be able to split time between talking about what the breakdown was and what's afterwards. Now, I've been talking for 3 minutes. Then again, I talk for such a long time. It feels like a long time for me because of COVID. I don't know if you noticed, but my voice is kind of like croaky, But welcome in. Welcome back. See, still the same old me. I don't know who this dash is though. But for today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that plagues a lot of everybody. I was gonna say streamers, but I see this happening with artists, with writers, singers, actors, job applicants. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what I'm trying to talk about here? Well, the title of this episode is Just Fucking Do It. And there is a reason as to why I titled this one Just Fucking Do It. It's because we all need to just fucking do it. Isn't that simple? Thank you so much for listening. This has been After the Breakdown. Now, why am I starting off the new season / the new show with this? It's simple, really. Because this is almost like a love letter to myself. for these past few months in terms of doing the things I want, past few years in terms of getting better at the things I want to do. It's been very challenging for me to have to update my socials and almost feel like I owe an explanation as to why I disappear over and over and over again. And I feel like a lot of you feel the same way. Maybe with your socials too, if you run like a blog, or if you run like, I don't know, like a meme page or whatever, or for any reason really, right? I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but some days you wake up knowing that there are things you need to do, and instead of just fucking doing it, you fucking don't. You just don't. You don't want to. And you sit there and you try to distract yourself with other things, but you end up feeling really bad that you didn't do it. And instead of being able to say, all right, you know what? I took a break today. That's what I did. And I'm going to do it tomorrow. You instead add on that kind of guilt the next day by not doing it again. And it's to the point where that guilty feeling of not doing what you're supposed to do becomes this huge boulder that you're just looking at now, and you're just kind of like, well, fuck, I created that shit and I don't want to touch it. And every day you wake up and you remind yourself of what you need to do. You look at that boulder, you look at that rock, and you're just like, holy fuck, this is my rock of shame. I will always be reminded of what I needed to do and I didn't do. And you end up feeling so bad about yourself. That's where I'm at. With the podcast, with the streaming, with my music, even with the Twitter stuff or the OnlyFans stuff, and it's so funny because I was never really open about talking about that stuff before on my podcast. And now I feel like, you know what, who am I kidding? Like, transparency, people, transparency. It's hard out there. We got to do what we got to do, right? Now, there is, I have some talking points that I actually wanted to bring up today. And one of them, the perfect term for how I'm feeling, or maybe how you're feeling every time that you do this to yourself, is languishing. Now, I remember I heard the word languishing from Mariah Carey. I believe she has a song called Languishing. And I was like, what the fuck does this mean? And I Googled it. And it was failing to make progress or be successful. And ever since then, this word has been stuck with me. I'm languishing. Can you blame me? Yes, of course. Should I blame me? No. And that's the same thing for you guys, right? But who better to talk about this than me? Because I am the biggest motherfucking recipient of imposter syndrome. Now, I remember, that's one thing. Do you guys remember when I did this whole media blitz of, hi guys, if you guys want to be on the podcast and talk about your imposter syndrome, please send me a message. And guess fucking what? So many people messaged me and I said, oh my God, yes. Wow, this is such great turnout. I didn't do it. I was like, oh, that's a lot of people to go through. How am I going to fucking pick who's fit for this podcast and who's not? I've made this podcast for everybody. And so I just didn't do it. Why didn't I just fucking do it? Sorry. It's so funny because I didn't even think about talking about that. And now that I just want to apologize to everybody who expressed interest in wanting to be on the podcast about imposter syndrome. I probably amplified your imposter syndrome by making you feel like you're not good enough to be on the podcast about imposter syndrome, but really you are more than qualified Not saying because your imposter syndrome is so great. Oh my God, I am just digging myself a grave. I just fucking did it. I just fucking dug myself a grave. You know what? I'm going to cross that out on my fucking list. Dig myself my own grave. My point is, I apologize. You guys are all wonderful people. You're all talented people. All of you who reached out to me, I have nothing but amazing things to say about y'all. And I promise we'll do it right when I finally get back into it. Into that topic, I mean, because I'm back. But back to the languishing. After I was ever so rudely interrupted by myself. One of the biggest things about not doing anything and feeling like you're languishing is it can really bring you to a really dark place about yourself. And for some people, unfortunately, also about people around them. And what I mean by that is sometimes these kinds of things breed some form of envy or jealousy. And that's never a good look. And it's not healthy either, right? Because you're sitting here thinking about doing all the things you want to do for yourself, thinking about, you know, what you could have done, where you could be at the moment if you had just done these things. And then seeing your peers, your contemporaries, actually do it and yield results. And you're sitting here like, that motherfucker, I'm sorry, but that motherfucker just did this. And they got to where I want to be. And I didn't do nothing about it. And now I'm going to be here and be a hater and talk shit about them. How, wow, do they even deserve that? Well, guess what? They fucking do. You know why they deserve it? Because they did it. They fucking did it. You know, it's funny because no matter how you look at this situation, it always boils down to, did you do it? You can prepare your entire life. You can practice. You can be the best singer no one's ever heard of. You can be the best writer no one's ever read. But none of that matters because you didn't do it. But what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of failing? Are you afraid of being successful? That's actually a thing, right? So many people are afraid that once this yields success, how are they going to follow that up? Well, why are you even thinking about that? You haven't even done it yet. Prime example, TikTok. One of my videos hit 2.5 million views, 2.6 million views. And so many people reached out to me and were like, oh my God, you made it now. Here, we should do collabs and stuff. Shout out to Kyle, by the way. Cal Lizzle on TikTok. Love him. One of my bestest friends, you know, constantly churning out great content on TikTok, you know? And he is someone that I would never get jealous of because we grew up together, and I've always told him ever since we were kids how talented he was and that he deserved to be in the spotlight, and he's finally doing it. But, you know, one of the things for me was that after that video hit 2.6 million, I never got another video that hit anywhere close to even thousands. And for some people who are chasing that paper on TikTok, you know, that's a huge blow. Yeah, that's a huge blow to them. That's like, oh my God, I'm a one-hit wonder. And for me, I never really cared about it. I was just kind of like, merp, whatever, right? But why I'm bringing this up is this. Why is it that I have this kind of mentality over TikTok stuff and I can't have the same mentality over my music or over streaming? Because that's exactly one of the reasons why I'm afraid to do my music or to stream again. It's, I'll never be partner. I'll never make partner on Twitch. You know, I remember when I used to hit like 60 average. That was weird, right? And then my numbers just dwindled down to like 17, 15. And I started being so afraid of streaming. I started blaming everything else. I mean, yes, there were other factors as to why I don't have numbers anymore, but I just didn't stream enough. I didn't want to do it. And it's the same with my music. I was gaining momentum. I was writing, I was getting people excited for my single. And then all of a sudden, I was like, wow, this single is so good. If I get this produced and it's not the way I want it done, it's not going to go anywhere. So I'm just not going to do it. Guess what, Steven? It didn't go anywhere. Not because it wasn't produced properly. It's because you didn't fucking do it. Are you guys seeing the theme yet? Like, what goes on in our heads, right? Like, why, at the moment, why does it feel like, holy shit, like, this makes sense. I'm just not going to do it. And instead, I'm going to sit here on my bed and feel bad about life and repost or post things on my stories about, wow, mental health is so important. And here are 5 steps to, feeling better about yourself. Guess what's one of those 5 steps? The thing you didn't do, which is doing it. Why do we always turn a blind eye to the things that we're doing? Why do we turn a blind eye to the most destructive things that we chose to do to ourselves? This is what I'm talking about when I say after the breakdown. Because my breakdown came in the form of being lost and losing all confidence. And I know for a lot of you who know me personally, I changed. My personality it's like I'm not even here. And I got scared. I wasn't turning into someone else, but I was becoming unhappy. And that's never good. What is the worst that can happen if I just go after the things that I want to go after? And this is the question I pose for all of y'all. Right? What is the worst that can happen, guys? The worst you can actually do is nothing. Because if you fail, you can at least learn from your failures. Always take L's as lessons, right? Never losses. You can always have that too. You can always, pivot, modify things, redefine yourselves. After a failure, you're like, all right, I tried that didn't work, let's do this. But doing nothing is holding you hostage. It's exactly what's keeping you languishing. But now that we've spoken about this, right? We're going to talk about, after this breakdown, what I realized and why I'm doing this episode and why I'm doing this podcast again. I don't want to go back to the way things were. I have a lot of work to do. Recently, I've been waking up at random times at night and I'd be coughing like crazy or choking like crazy. I may have sleep apnea. I'm waiting for my doctor to refer me to a sleep doctor. But it's so funny because I don't have a CPAP machine. And you can actually die from it. And I remember asking myself, would I be happy with the way that I had lived my life if one day I just didn't wake up? And sure enough, my intrusive thoughts started acting up. My OCD, which will always be around. That's a different episode. We're going to talk about that. That is but I said to myself, not really. I could easily, at that point, have just been like, well, that's just life, Life just sucks. Fuck this life. But that's not who I am. And it's in that thought process that I was like, whoa, actually, I think this is why I've been so unhappy lately. It's because I'm not usually the type of person to not do it, Because even before, when I would put things off, I would always be doing something else. this is the first time where for a few months, I just sat here, played games. Games are usually good. Games are usually fun. I'm not even enjoying playing games anymore. That's when you knew something was wrong. I don't even sing anymore. That's even worse. I love singing, right? So after that whole breakdown, I decided, you know what? This will be my first step. And this is why I wanted to do this as the first episode. Not because I figured it out. The whole point of the show, if you figured it out, great, tell us. You know, for my future guests, for the people out there listening right now who wants to guest on this show, yes, please share with us your success stories and how you're doing now and what did you do, what happened. But I wanted to start off the episode because I wanted to remind everybody that I am fucking doing it. These past few months have been so hard for me. I used to always avoid that word, and I'm going to start avoiding it again. Because my therapist taught me to use the word challenging instead. These past few months have been so challenging for me. There are so many changes in my life that's been happening, and I just don't know how to navigate. I was talking to one of my other really close friends earlier. Shout out to Sheep. And I told him, like, for the first time in my life, I'm actually unsure of what's going to happen in the future. I mean, all of us are unsure. We're not psychic. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? But we always, for most of us, have always had temporary plans, you know, for the near future. I don't even have that. Even financially, I'm sitting here and I'm like, bro, if I don't sell fucking nudes right now, I'm not going to have money for rent next month. Realistically. If I don't stream right now, I'm not going to have subscribers. It's been a wild ride. But I needed this as the first episode for this podcast because I wanted you guys to see and I wanted you guys to know that I'm in the same boat. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm scared. You know, I'm mentally, like, I'm still working on myself constantly. My OCD acts up and all of a sudden I fall apart. My health it's gone to shit. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know, financially, I'm struggling. I am hitting rock bottom. As we speak, I am, you know, chilling with the rocks. I'm one of the rocks. But the worst thing I've been doing to myself is not doing it. Whatever it is that I know I can do to improve my life in some way. To have that feeling of being alive again. And that would look different and feel different for everybody. But, you know, I haven't been talking to anyone and I'm usually a social butterfly. And I stop myself because I feel like I'm not good enough to talk. And that's a real problem. But anyways, point is, I wanted to do this as the first episode because I wanted to show y'all that it doesn't matter if we are so afraid of things. It doesn't matter if we have failed in the past. It doesn't matter, right? If we don't know where we're going, what matters is that we start doing it. What is it? I don't fucking know. Only you know. That itch that you have that you know will change your life for the better. That itch that you have that you know will help you mentally. That itch that you have that you know can potentially help those around you. Just do it. Don't care about what other people think. They're not paying your bills. Even if they are paying your bills, who gives a fuck? If they're still going to give you the money for that, go ahead and do it, you know? this has been great. I wanted to keep this cute, short and sweet, cute and cut. I don't fucking know. Expect my episodes to actually be a little bit shorter as well. I know I have maybe when I have a guest or co-hosts, it will run a little bit longer, but I want to at least cap it before the 30-minute mark. It'll be more concise. I'll try to make it actually 30 minutes on the dot. But anyways, I have a few more minutes to talk about what's in store for this season. Let me tell you right now what's in store for this season, guys. So for this season of After the Breakdown, I don't fucking know. I really don't. I literally just today, I just decided to do this, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Because I've had ideas that never materialized, and I was just kind of like, okay, well, why didn't they materialize? And I was like, oh, because I didn't fucking do it. Also, I'm playing around with my hair. I don't know if you guys can hear that on the podcast right now. I know if you guys are watching this, you know this, but I need a haircut. So I look like this. I have a really weird mustache going on. I do want to say, before we go, thank you so much for those of you who have listened to Breaking Down the Breakdown. I didn't want to end it. I just decided to rename it, to kind of pull a little bit more different focus on it. Just a little bit of a different focus. Still the same, just a little bit different. For those of you who are new listeners, welcome. I hope this finds you well. I know we usually chart in Korea. 안녕하세요 for those of you who are in Korea. Speaking of which, one of my great friends, Chelsea, was supposed to guest on Breaking Down the Breakdown. I will try to bring her in here. So Chelsea, if you're listening, I know you are. I love you. I miss you. I'm sorry that things on my end got really complicated. But we will do your episode right. I promise. And for those of you who want to be on the show, feel free to email me, right? StephenDiego@hotmail.com. You can find me on social media, right? Actually, you can find me on Stephen Diego Music on Instagram. I'm not going to drop my alter Instagram here for the fitness people because that's not for everybody. And I'm, as much as this podcast is not really, for under 18, I mean, you can listen to it if you're under 18. It's a podcast. Thank God. But, I'm still not dropping it. But anyways, I just want to say, if you ever feel like questioning your existence again, if you feel like you're just going to sit there and cry, if you're going to sit there and feel bad about your life, if you are just going to stand there and do nothing, and you want to just be depressed and angry and sad, all I'll say to you is schedule it. Schedule when you're going to do it. You know why? Because even scheduling and giving yourself that time is organizing it. And you know what that does? That is setting you up for being able to schedule other things in your life. This has been After the Breakdown. This is Stephen Diego. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you back here soon. Hopefully with my new co-host. I'm not going to tell them. It's going to be random people, trust me, and my guests as well. I love you all. Thank you so much. Remember, be kind, be compassionate. You never know what the other person is going through. It doesn't matter how terrible they are, how vile they are. We have been through there. We have been villains once. Let's not do it again. Bye, guys.